Hello and welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I hope you're having a good Monday. Today we're going to be making a wonderful Christmas card because you know it is in the middle of Christmas planning season. But before I get started, I will start with the housekeeping notes to get those out of the way. In the description bar below, you will find the description of the project we're making today, all the product I used, and dimensions. You will find a link to my online store. You will find my email address and a link to my Facebook group, which we'd love to have you join with us. Also, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel as we are trying to get it to grow. And all those who have recently subscribed, welcome. One more piece of news. We have a couple more days before my special on my online store goes away. If you place a $45 order by November 30th, you are entered in a drawing to win this brand new Wonderful World stamp set and brand new package of paper. This was a celebration item this summer, and I have an extra one and I want to give it away to somebody. So with a $45 order placed by the end of the day on November 30th, we'll get you in the drawing on December 1st. The winner will be notified, and you will be notified on the videos, one of the videos thereafter, as to who the winner was. So, with all that being said, we will get started. This is some beautiful paper, and we're using some of it today. This is the Boughs of Holly DSP, which is just gorgeous. And I'll flip it over, and the back sides are so, they're very muted and neutral, so they can be used all year long. So, I wanted to show you that. We are using some of it today, and I'll show you what we're making. We are making a double Z-fold card, and this is the front of the card, and I'll hold it up a little closer. And yes, that is gold glimmer paper we're using, and it opens like this. And it sits like this very nicely. You have a little place to write. If this was not a big enough area to write, you could add a white panel on the back and have more places to write. So this is what we're making today. And then of course, we have to have an envelope with something on it. Naked envelopes are not good. So let's get on with the project. So let me get the parts out here that we're going to be using. And we're going to get the stamping done first. Oh, we have a back to a dimensional. I wonder how that got in there. So we'll go over all these other pieces in a minute. We have our envelope. We have a small scrap for our front saying. And this one is for the inside panel here. Now this panel here and this are the same dimension. This piece is one of the pieces of DSP. It's this sheet of paper here. And I could have fussy cut this all out, and I thought, why do I need to fussy cut? I love the background as well. So I went in and measured and cut out one of these right out of the center of, well, wherever it fit, one of the pieces. So it was the size I needed. And it gives a great focal point without doing a lot of work. And so these two pieces are both 2.5 by 3. So that's where I got that piece. So we will get on with our stamping. And I did cut an extra piece just in case, you know, I always do that. And we are going to be using the Leaves of Holly set. And we're going to be using the berries, the Christmas wishes, and from Our Home to Yours, which I thought was quite beautiful. I'll get that out of the glare of my lights there so you can see the set. And we're going to be using the die, 2 dies out of this set, and I'll show you those in a minute because they're already in the die bowl waiting for us. And we're only using one color of ink today, real red. And so first I'm going to go ahead and do the envelope and this little piece here because we're going to put a little few berries in the bottom here. And this is 2 stem stamping, so there is the solid and the, and you can stamp it. I better get this into the screen here. You can stamp this either way you want. I want to go ahead and do the solid first, or the outline first. I found it a little easier to line up. So we'll do that there. And then I need one in the corner down here. And then this one, I'm going to come in here and just line it up like that. Now you could go lighter, and I'm going to actually just do the second right here and make it lighter so you can see the two differences. So you could stamp off once and you get the little lighter, and if you don't stamp off, it'll be darker. So that is, you know, your choice, and do it, make it your own. And we're done with that one. And then we also need our little saying that goes across here. And this is from our home to yours. And we're gonna put that right at the top in the center, like that. We'll set that off to the side, and then we need to do Christmas wishes. I'm just gonna put that right in the middle of this because we're gonna die cut this. So there's that one. And of course, I just got my finger right into the ink. Who would have guessed? Me and the Real Red have been having an issue the last few days. As I told you, I re-inked it the other day, and for some reason, it just wants to attach to my hands all of a sudden. So, but that will be fine. We'll just clean it off a little bit so I don't get it all over the project. So, now we're done stamping. We're going to do our die cutting. I'll set that off to the side. What we need to die cut is the Merry Christmas. We need to die cut the label that we're going to be using, gold, and we need to die cut the leaves that are in this, and this is Shaded Spruce, that are going to go behind the gold. So grab my dies. If you guys aren't familiar with my bowl, this is just a workman's bowl for nuts and bolts. Works great for dies. If you don't have that, a glass bowl, plastic bowl, just something to hold your dies so they don't get lost. So we'll go ahead and do this one first. When you die cut this, and I'll show you, this piece looked rather weird, and I figured it out that it actually goes behind this, like this, and puts the color in. So you'll see in a minute. It's pretty cool. So we'll get a little cranky moving here, and we'll get our gold paper out here. This is gold Glimmer out of the set that has the Evening Evergreen and the ivory in it, which I've been using quite a bit because I do like it. Run that through. Out and be very careful with this because this cuts this very thin little piece right there, which leaves this separated here. And we'll have to do a little weeding here in a moment, but we'll do that in a second. We'll finish our die cutting and then we'll come back to weeding. This is the green piece we need to cut. Like I said, we're not using a lot of paper to do that one, just a little scrap. And once again, I'm looking at this stuff and I'm doing this blind. I don't even have my glasses on. It's not a very interesting looking piece, but once you get it behind, it does do its job. And I'm gonna grab my glasses. Oh, I could see again. And then we're gonna get our Merry Christmas in here. And this one, I am going to put a little tape on because I want to make sure it doesn't go there. And I've been using washing tape and Post-its, and I played around a little bit and looked around, and I found This is called craft tape. It's not painter's tape. And you tack it off just like you do a washi tape a little bit. But it does seem to hold things a little bit better than Post-its. And it lasts longer. Yeah, I know the purple tape, it rips quite easily, and this does not rip as easily as that purple does. So I bought some, and I'm giving it a try. Gave it some to my friend, Donna, so she could give it a whirl. It peels off rather nice. And we have our nice little die cut there. So we'll put those all back in the bowl and get rid of the bowl. And get rid of little Cranky and the dies, the plates. And I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper here, because the foil, I've discovered you have to do a little weeding to get the pieces out. And because they do want to stick in here, and you do need to be gentle or you'll rip it. Let's get a pokey tool out here. That'll help a lot. I thought about doing this one ahead of time, but I figured you needed to see how this worked. Once you get it started, it goes pretty quickly. It's big pieces, so. There's one little piece left on that one, and this little one here. So it does take a few minutes to do this, but the regular paper doesn't take as long as the Glimmer, but it does take a moment. Maybe should have ran it through twice in the machine, but I didn't. So we'll make do with what we've got. So a couple more pieces and we will be done. And I'd use my little brush, except I left it in the other room, and because I've been crafting in the living room again. There we go. Very pretty when it's all cut. So let me get rid of all these little pieces real fast. And we cut this out. I'm just going to give you a tip. There's still a lot of Glimmer left in here. It makes stars, little pieces and stuff. So I keep all the, unless it's really tiny, I keep these pieces because I use all the scrap of that Glimmer paper. So we got those cut. We got die cutting done. So let's go ahead and score our pieces, and then we'll assemble the card. Now, this first piece, I'm going to take this quick drink here, excuse me. This first piece is 11 by 4 1/4. And we, on the 11-inch side, we are going to score this at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. Now this is our second piece, and they could be the same color. I opted to use 2 different colors. And you're going to score them exactly the same, but this one is 9 3/4 by 3 1/4. And we're going to score them in the exact same place, 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. This is an easy, fun fold. Gives a big wow when people receive it. So we're going to fold this one down, get the phone folder, give it a good burnish. Then we're going to fold this, give it a good burnish. This one, and this one. So there's our 2 pieces, okay? And I like to print all my paper. I'm going to print the paper on the back section first. Now, I'm not going to give you all these dimensions. They will be in the description below. But this piece is going to go on this one here. And these two are going to go here. So we'll do those first. And you could use tape or whatever your adhesive of choice is. You all know I like Tombow. Use other stuff occasionally, depending on what I'm doing. And these have 1/4 inch margins. Whoop. Don't drop it. Luckily, it landed where it was supposed to, so it didn't make too big a mess. And this is the poinsettia of paper out of it that's all clustered together. Makes a beautiful backdrop for this type of card. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my card now. So this goes like this goes like this, okay? And you could put this on first. Actually, well, let's go ahead and do that. That'd be easier for me to show you how to do this. So we'll just put these panels on first and then we'll glue it together. You can do it either way. And this one goes down here at the end, that little piece I cut out. Like I said, you could fussy cut it, but I really liked all the speckly and the paper in there, so I went with just cutting a bunch of those out. And this is our centerpiece here. Like that. And close this. Now, you notice what I did was we scored all of them exactly the same. So you lay this one down like it's supposed to be. You flip this one around and it's just the opposite. So they're like this. Now I find the easiest way to do this is to center the card up first and see, and I usually use my grid to make sure that I've got this fairly straight. I'm going to move it down a little bit so I can see it a little easier. So I can sort of see where we're at. So there's a 1/2 inch, and we're a little over a 1/2 inch. So we'll scoot that over a little bit here. So I'm just sort of lining it up here. And we're about a 1/2 inch on either side there. So then what I do is I look on here and see where this is. It's right about there. I'm going over here. I'm just visually looking at it. And I'm going to put glue just on this one small piece. And enough to hold it. I'm still holding this down. Bring this straight back where you want it and hold it for just a second. Just let it get it hooked in there. And the second piece goes in even easier. Making a Z-fold card is one of the easiest cards in the world to make. And they've got a lot of wow factor. So if you open this up, now you're putting it on the back side of the green here on this one. Now you can flip it back this way, but I find it easier to close the card down on top of it. Give it a second. There's our Z-fold. Now we just have to decorate the front of it. And decorating the front is pretty easy. First, we're going to grab this little piece here. And it's going to sit right behind the paper there, so like that. So I found the easiest way to do this is just come in here with a little bit of glue. It doesn't need much. We just need to hold it in place until we get some dimensionals on this, because we're popping this all up on dimensionals. And we'll put dimensionals under this to help hold this green piece on there as well. So a little glue to hold it. Pick this up, and there is a right way and a wrong way. So you have to look at it a couple times to see where the right and wrong way were, where is, I should say. And it just goes in there, so there's just a little border on there, so it's not hanging out. And then it looks like that. And we are going to pop this up in just a moment. Before that, we're going to go ahead and put our saying on here. And I'm putting that on with glue. I don't want to put, I thought about putting dimensionals on this, but since I have to mail a lot of cards, I'm trying to keep them under the 1/4 inch for the mail. And I'm just going to go right in the middle of that. Maybe a little towards the bottom, but like that. And definitely have to hold it for a second with this to let that glimmer paper connect with the glue. It does take a second. Because if you don't, it will slide around. Then we're going to get some dimensionals. And like I said, we're going to use, make sure we have a dimensional on each side of that paper holding it to the gold. So we make sure that it is up there. And then we're going to put a few more on here. I'm just putting a few going down the sides here. One on the end. And I know this is flipping around here, and I'll show you what we do with that in just a second. Well, I told you I was going to put my tree up. We have the tree up. It's not decorated yet. We've waited on that because we're trying to train the kittens to stay out of the tree. They have both managed to climb to the top of the tree. And they're not in here right now because they're sleeping. Which is a nice thing right now. I'm going to sort of line that up in here in the center. Like that. Now this is still flopping around and could get ripped off easily. So what I did, so on the end here, I just took a little glue. And you don't have to, this is very thin, you don't have to. You can be gentle with your Tombow, or you could use the toothpick method or a paintbrush. I just put a little on the end there, not all the way around, just on the end. Got a little too much, but that's okay. I've told you how to just take some, your emboss, that dries clear. So let it dry. Like I said, I got a little bit there, a little close, but that's okay. Let it dry completely. It'll dry clear. Just take a little embossing powder, not embossing powder, embossing butter, or some powder, regular powder, not embossing powder. And that will be no problem whatsoever. That's what you have, a little sticky spot. Like I said, take your embossing buddy across there a little bit, very lightly, or just take a little bit of baby powder or corn, I can't even think, cornstarch or corn powder, whatever it's called. I can't think today. So to finish up the card, I decided I wanted some gold on it, and my shipment had come. And these are the adhesive back swirls. Now, I've been told, when I checked last, they were still in stock, but my understanding is they are going very quickly. But if you don't have these, you could use any other kind of bling you wanted. But this is what I chose to use on my card. And as you see, I have only used a couple, so I'm not going to let these beautiful things go to waste. So, but you could use other gold pieces you have, or they don't even have to be gold. They could be red or green. And we'll just put a couple on there. No bow on this one, just a nice simple card. So I think it's got a big wow factor when someone opens that up. So they'll really enjoy that. So thank you for joining me. Don't forget about my special in the online store. Remember to subscribe, like, and share, because you're very much appreciated. And thank you for joining me. And I will see you on Wednesday. Oh, and Wednesday, what we've got planned, it's going to be fun. So I'll see you then. Goodbye.